Veterans, there is a lot of bad information being given to veterans as it pertains to the VA compensation claims process. So in today's video, I'm going to give you some examples of this bad information. So when you hear or see it coming, you can cross the street and run for your natural life. Make sure you stick around. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. Veterans, there is a lot of bad information out there. And in today's video, I'm going to give you some examples of some of this bad information so you can avoid it like the plague. But before I get into this valuable information, a couple of things. Make sure you click the link in the description section and get signed up for my next upcoming webinar where I explain exactly what it is I do, what I don't do, and how you can work with me. Also, there is a new AI platform out there where you can build your own VA claim educational packet. Now, this is fairly new, so make sure you get signed up for that webinar because I will be explaining a little bit more in detail about this particular AI software, and you want to get in during the beta testing. So today's video, bad information, people. There is so much bad information out there on social media, off social media, and you need to be aware of it. Now, a lot of my videos, I'm giving you information and I'm giving it to you straight from the VA's 38 CFR in the M21-1 or the M21-5. So it's not with my personal feelings or what I think the regulation is. It is based on facts. I'm giving you receipts, okay? So some of these are just a few examples, but there's much more out there. So I'm going to help you avoid this bad information like the plague. Let's go ahead and get into it. Number one. Here, number one, you can see a lawyer guarantees a win. I see sometimes people leave comments and they'll say, oh, just go get a lawyer. Are you accredited? Just because you're accredited don't mean that you understand this process. What that means is the VA has approved you to represent veterans, but that don't mean you know this process. You should know it, okay? But keep in mind, just because you get a lawyer doesn't mean that guarantees anything. When I rated, I would get letters from Congress representatives, from veterans, and guess what? Just because that person works in Congress or that is a representative, that doesn't mean I can just go ahead and grant. I still have to follow the letter of the law. So just because you're using someone that's accredited, especially a lawyer, does not guarantee that you are going to get service connected, okay? That is totally false. Now, in my opinion, you can work with whoever you decide to work with. You want to pay somebody, pay somebody. That's just my opinion for what it's worth, okay? Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But regardless, if you decide to work with me, work with another company, work with somebody that is accredited, that is totally up to you. But you still need to invest the time to get educated on this process, okay? Number two. Filing a new claim at 100% reopens everything. People, that is YouTube clickbait. I was trained by the VA. I adjudicated several claims. Now, I'm not saying that the people out here that are saying this don't know the claims process, but when it pertains to this, they are wrong. They are wrong, all right? So there was, I could probably count on one hand where I had to go back and look at some information, like to go back to the previous rating decision. But those times a veteran may have had 5 or 6 rating decisions prior to that. I didn't go back and look at everything. VA employees are on quotas. They don't have time to go back and look through everything. I've shared my VA claims folder, the paper one, in some of my videos. It is not enough time in the day that you can go back and look at all of that information. And here's why. Majority of the time, it's not necessary. If someone is coming in for an increase, I'll go to the previous rating code sheet to ensure that they are service connected for that condition. But I'm not going back to see, okay, were they seen in service for it? Was it a diagnosis? No, all of that should have already been done. But there are times where I did have to go back maybe a little bit further than that previous rating decision. But it's not all the time, okay? People, that is YouTube clickbait. But I will tell you this. Here's a nugget for you. If you're 100% permanent total, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what you're doing. I had a client, Vietnam vet. He was blue water, filed a claim for diabetes before the VA recognized blue water. Once they did, he submitted a supplemental claim and he won that claim because now blue water is entitled to Azorn's presumptive under 38 CFR 3.309 subpart E. Okay, know what you are doing. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, why would you do it? Well, there's a lot of reasons why veterans do it, all right? But just know why you're doing it and understand what you're doing when you do it, okay? Let's keep going. Number 3, you must be seen at a VA hospital for a year first before filing your VA claim. That's false, people. That is false. Now, back when I rated, you didn't even have to have a diagnosis. If you claim back condition, you were treated in service for the back, I'm going to request an exam. Now, that examiner may say you don't have a diagnosis and provide a negative opinion. So in today's world, I would suggest you get that diagnosis, and it may not be a bad idea to have a paper trail, okay? Because the way people rate now is different than way back then when I rated, okay? But the regulations, majority of them are still the same. Okay, so you always want to be proactive, okay? Just make sure you have a diagnosis and at a minimum, some progress notes, okay? Number 4, you must attend a CMP exam even with strong private evidence. People, I can tell you that is false, okay? And it's very bad information. My last claim, I did an increase, and I just had a DBQ from a private doctor because I vowed not to go back to another CMP exam because I didn't trust them. I had 4 CMP exams. 2 of them were good, 2 of them were horrible. The ones that were horrible, they flat out lied on those CMP exams. So when the DBQs came out, I'm like, perfect. I'll just take them to my private doctor, and it worked out, okay? 38 CFR 3.326 subpart B, it states, if you have sufficient evidence, no CMP exam may be necessary. So if the VA has that regulation, why are people out there saying that you have to go? All right. Now, there's another reference and regulation that talks about good cause by not reporting for a CMP exam. There are some regulations and references that contradict each other. Okay. So as a former VA rater trained by the VA, I knew I didn't have to go to that CMP exam. I didn't want there to be conflicting medical evidence, so I opted not to go. I told them rate with the evidence of record because the evidence of record showed that I met the criteria for that particular increase. Now, I'm not saying you should go or you shouldn't go. What I'm telling you is understand if you go, what could happen, and if you don't go, why you're not going. Okay, and you need to understand the regulation that covers that because I've had clients that refuse the CMP exam not once, not twice, and then still refuse not to go, but they had that sufficient DBQ and they won a case. I've had clients that refused it, and the rater denied it. Did a high-level review and they approved it. Okay, so when somebody says you have to go, even though you have a sufficient DBQ, why are some VA employees still granting it? It doesn't make sense, okay? Because there's regulations out there that states that if they have sufficient evidence, they can use it. Again, people, bad information. But either way, you need to understand the regulations. So if you have to fight it, you know how to fight it, okay? Number 5. You can get a rating for PTSD and depression separately. That's incorrect, people. That's pyramiding. That's not going to happen. I've seen veterans file a claim for depression, a new claim for depression, and they're already service-connected for PTSD. I've seen them file a claim for depression secondary to PTSD. In the primary, they're already service-connected for PTSD. The VA is going to take that claim for an increase in the PTSD. Now, here's a nugget. Let's say that 50% for that PTSD has been in effect less than 5 years. You go to that C&P exam, you think you're showing up for depression. No. It's an increase for PTSD. And if it shows improvement, they're going to do a proposal to reduce. Now, if that 50% has been in effect longer than 5 years, then they need 2 exams to show improvement before they can do a proposal to reduce. And if you have a VSO, claims agent, or attorney, and they haven't told you this information, okay, you might want to second guess that representation. All right, let's keep going. Number 6, you can't claim benefits if you served in the Guard or Reserve. People, I had a friend of mine went to high school with, and we started the National Guard together, and then I went on active duty. He ends up wants to file a claim, and he goes, sees this service officer, and this service officer say, hey, no, you never went on active duty, you were in the Guard. You can't file a claim. But he's service connected now. Okay? Bad information. And I'm like, dude, you had a service officer, somebody that's accredited, tell you just because you're in the National Guard, you can't get service connected? And then years later, he ended up getting service connected? People, wow, okay? I'm just gonna leave that right there. I'm not gonna even elaborate, all right? Number 7, what works for one veteran will work for another veteran. No, people, I don't care if you all served in the same platoon, you all were both in Iraq or Afghanistan, you have a diagnosis of PTSD, one veteran gets 70% and the other one gets 30, and the veteran that got 30 is saying, wait a minute, I should have got 70. We served in the same location and we got the same diagnosis. No, that is not the way it worked. Every claim is different, okay? Every diagnosis affects a particular veteran differently, okay? I cannot stress that more, okay? So again, what worked for one veteran will not always work for another, okay? Just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. Number 8, you can't work if you are granted IU. People, all right, this is the best way to explain this, okay? The VA has a YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, there's a guy, he has a polo shirt. I can't recall his name, but it has sit rep on there, okay? And basically, he's telling veterans the difference between 100% PNT and IU. And when he gets to IU, he says, you can work. And there's something called marginal employment. I just did a recent video where I'm talking about marginal employment, the poverty level, and I'll take it a step further and talk about protected environment. So why is it that people are out there telling veterans, if you have IU, you can't work? Now, the question that I have, if you're service connected for IU, why would you want to go back to work? I understand everybody's financial situation, it changes. But 9 times out of 10, if you can get IU, you could probably get it overall 100%. Then you don't have to worry about working or not working, okay? So people, if you're telling veterans out there, oh, you have service connection for IU, you can't work, don't do that. That's just flat out wrong, because it's not me saying it. It's the VA's regulations stating that you can. And just go check out that video on the VA's website as it pertains to IU and 100% PNT as it concerns employment. Okay, so a lot of bad information. Invest the time to get educated on this process. I don't care if you're working with me, another consulting company, or even an accredited agent, VSO, lawyer, or whoever. This is your claim. You are responsible for it. If you are able-bodied, if you can get on a computer, laptop, iPad, or whatever, and go through and look up this information, do it, because there is a lot of bad information. That's why in the majority of my videos, I'm sharing slides so you know, hey, wait a minute. It's not Dwayne. Dwayne is educating us on this 38 CFR, this M21-1, this M21-5, okay? So that way you have a stronger foundation when you went out there and you looked at these different references and regulations, okay? Don't forget the new AI software. So if you're still watching at this point, go ahead and put AI in the comment section and be on the lookout in my live streams, in my webinars, because I'm going to be sharing more information how you can get signed up for this new AI software. It's definitely a game changer. There's nothing out there like it. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.